Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel, and it's time for another match preview. I'm back from Tenerife, and Celtic have a thick and fast schedule to work their way through from here until that winter break. So we begin today with some positive news, but more importantly, Celtic need to build on the positives from what we've seen against Feyenoord on Wednesday. We've got to put Kilmarnock behind us, and we've got to keep winning games, because this is a title that Celtic need to win. If you haven't already, please make sure to hit like and subscribe. It'd be very much appreciated. We're back in video format, so I appreciate you all being so patient with me while I was away. It's time to get back into the daily content. I've missed it, so the best thing you can do is like and subscribe. It helps me a hell of a lot, and let's get back into this. Right, it's time to take on Hearts tomorrow at Celtic Park, and it's a massive game for Celtic. Hearts are looking to avoid 3 straight losses as they come to Parkhead, and Celtic obviously looking to make up for that loss last week against Kilmarnock. We have squandered an 8-point lead at the top of the Scottish Premiership, which means there is no room for error between now and that final game before the winter break on January 2nd. Very important that Celtic get 3 points tomorrow. And listen, the last time we played Hearts, things went according to plan. We were very good. We beat them at Tynecastle 4-1 earlier in the season. Celtic need to repeat that tomorrow. We need a convincing performance. We need a positive performance. Ultimately, I want to see Celtic fans leaving Celtic Park tomorrow full of positivity and optimism heading into what could be a bit of a feisty run from here till the end of the season. So, massive game tomorrow. We can't underestimate it, and we need to build off the success from Wednesday. Let's talk about Wednesday a little bit. I don't want to talk about it too much because there is news to cover and obviously the game to cover tomorrow. Celtic were really good on Wednesday. Our first Champions League win in a long time. Our first Celtic Park Champions League win in over 10 years. That is a massive weight to be lifted off the shoulders of this Celtic side, and mentally, psychologically, that's huge for the club. It's huge for this group of players. And the fact that we can beat the Dutch champions and put a good performance in alongside that, to me, suggests that we should be able to do the same against Hearts. Sorry, I'm moving the microphone up. We should be able to do the same against Hearts. Now, against Kilmarnock last week, I don't know what happened. It was one of our worst performances of the season. That second 45 is arguably the worst 45 I've seen from a Celtic side since the week before, when we had a terrible opening 45. But in seriousness, one of the worst 45 minutes of football you're ever going to see, and at a domestic level, it's completely unacceptable for us to be playing like that. No matter if it's at home or away on a plastic park, Celtic shouldn't be against a side like Kilmarnock and suffering to the hands of a side like Kilmarnock without putting up even the smallest of challenges. And that's exactly what happened. But then you go to Wednesday and you've seen what a side that was made up of players who probably aren't equipped for the Champions League level, for them to go out and win that game and put out the performance that they did is huge. It's massive, and we've got to take that. We've got to take that and use it heading into this game tomorrow. Now, don't get me wrong, people will continuously tell us, oh, it was a meaningless game, it didn't matter, it was basically a friendly, the fates were sealed. You can't look at the game like that. You've got to look at it as the game on paper. It's Celtic going toe-to-toe with the Dutch champions, and a game where, you know, we were, I don't even know how to describe it. We weren't equipped for it, put it that way. You know, you're getting forced to play guys like, and I don't mean this with any disrespect, but, you know, you're playing a side that has, you know, Mitchell Frame, Stephen Welsh, guys like that who aren't Champions League quality, and we're still going out and winning. If we can do that, we should be doing it week in, week out in the league. So I'm hoping to see players like Welsh and players like Frame, if given more chances tomorrow or moving forward, take these opportunities and play like they did midweek. But we need to get last week out of our minds, and we've got to start winning games. Despite last week being our only loss in the league, which is crazy to say because it feels like we've lost a few with some of the reaction. We've dropped too many points, we've dropped silly points, and we haven't been good enough in individual games. The importance of winning every single game now until that derby is paramount. It's huge. We cannot drop any more points. We can't allow Rangers to take any more momentum heading into this game. I don't think either of the two teams, despite both of us winning in Europe this week, we know that both teams aren't great this season. And that's just being honest. Celtic haven't been great. Rangers haven't been great. But if we keep dropping points between now and the derby, Rangers will slowly see the momentum shift in their direction. The importance of us winning every game from now until that derby it cannot be understated. And Brendan Rodgers does realise that, the squad realise that. It's now about putting it into action. I think tomorrow we need a convincing performance, we need an authoritative performance, something that shows that we are the top dogs in this country. Hearts haven't had the greatest of campaigns, but they're still a good side. Put them to the sword, make an example of them, and start getting the fear factor back in for this derby coming up at the end of the month, because we should be going into that game the favourites. I want us to be going into the game with all the momentum and positivity on our side. I don't want Rangers thinking that they can come and get something. So we need authoritative performances. We need domination in these games. That starts tomorrow for us. So let's get on to the news for tomorrow's game, and some positive news from John Kennedy's press conference earlier this afternoon. We have been given updates on some of the injured Celtic players, including a couple of them who are due to return to the squad tomorrow afternoon. Hallelujah. Cameron Carter-Vickers, let's start with him. It feels like he's been out an eternity. It's not even been that long, but it feels like an eternity without him. He is due to return to the squad tomorrow alongside Dyson Maeda. And if you're talking about Vickers being out an eternity, then God, Dyson Maeda's not been here in about 4 years, because it feels like forever since we last seen Dyson Maeda in a Celtic jersey. Both players scheduled to return tomorrow. This is what John Kennedy said at the press conference today. He said that they'll both, talking about Vickers and Maeda, come into the squad tomorrow. And then he gave an update on Abada and Hatate, saying Abada is still working through rehab. He's a couple of weeks away. Rio is slightly behind him. So there's your update. Cameron Carter-Vickers and Dyson Maeda both returning to the squad tomorrow. To what capacity? We don't know yet. We'll need to wait until the starting 11's out. I don't know if they'll start the game, if they'll come on later in the game. I think it all depends on where you are and what the available players are looking like. I would be surprised to see both of them start, but if they're in any way, shape or form fit or ready to start tomorrow, I'd get them in the team. To be quite honest, I really would, especially Cameron Carter-Vickers. But obviously they'll judge that, they'll come to a decision. We obviously have positives to build off midweek with Lagerbielke and Welsh playing quite well. So, you know, it's not the biggest problem if one of those two have to start alongside Scales tomorrow, but I'd love to see Vickers back in. The positive to hear about Abada as well is he's a couple of weeks away, which means he might be ready in time for the derby at the end of the month, but we'll touch on that closer at the time. Rio Hatate, Brendan Rodgers said that he wouldn't be back till January. I think that's still realistically what we're looking at. Yeah, there's maybe the slimmest of chances that he could be back in time for the derby, but I don't think they'll want to rush that, especially with the length and the severity of the injury he's had. But most importantly, Maeda and Cameron Carter-Vickers, I've used this word a lot here, but you can't understate how important that is having them back in the team. They have been sorely missed, and I look forward to seeing them tomorrow if they get onto the park. I mean, listen, if we're at any point in the game 3-0 up or whatever, they might just think, nah, we'll give them that time to rest and bring them back midweek or whatever, but it's so good to hear that they're back in the squad. Of course, we've seen all of those fantastic pictures of Dyson Maeda back in training this morning as well, so we knew it was coming. Looks as though he's on grass, looks as though he's playing. So yeah, hopefully we see him. We've missed his injection of pace in the side. We've missed what he can do. He's a very key part of what we do in the attacking final third. Yeah, can't wait to see Dyson back. Of course, that does bring along some team selection headaches, having Vickers and Maeda back. And obviously, there's just another couple in there. A lot of people want to see more of Mitchell Frame, and I do not blame you. I wouldn't mind seeing more of Mitchell Frame tomorrow. There was an impressive cameo from him midweek against Feyenoord. Will he come straight into the side? I wouldn't put your money on it, but listen, if there's room to bring him on in the game, do it. You know, he may as well. This is a guy who was looked at by clubs like Manchester City in the summer transfer window, so there's clearly talent there, and he showed some of that on Wednesday. So if he can get some time in the game, that would be great. Lagerbielke, Welsh, Cameron Carter-Vickers all being available does present an opportunity to maybe play about there and get somebody in. Lagerbielke, of course, getting that goal that won the game. There is a couple of team selection headaches, and for once, quite nice. So, yeah, a couple of big decisions for Brendan Rodgers to make, but a few names in contention for a spot. I feel like I've spoke for ages in this match preview, so let's go through the opposition very, very quickly. Here's the league table right now. Hearts currently sit in 6th place. They have been a little bit better. Of course, they have lost the last couple of games. This is their form of late, but those two losses coming to Aberdeen and Rangers games where I feel like Hearts are expected to lose. I feel like they're both better teams at the minute, Aberdeen and Rangers. I know Aberdeen haven't had a great season either, so Hearts fans, don't jump at me, but they have been balancing with Europe. They also did beat Frankfurt midweek. Yeah, it's been a couple of tricky games, and now coming to Celtic Park doesn't make it easier, but We know what we're coming up against. We played them earlier in the season. We beat them 4-1. We've seen what the opposition were like. No excuse. We need to beat them. It's as simple as that. I don't think the Hearts are a great team by any stretch of the imagination. And being at Celtic Park, you have to win every game there. So it's as simple as that. And Stephen Naismith's a clown. So forgot that part. So here's my starting 11 prediction then on screen now. Aye, I've gone for it. I've put Cameron Carter-Vickers in. I haven't put MAEDA in. As I said, I don't know if both of them will start the game, but I am going to go with Cameron Carter-Vickers for now. I think that if he can get 50, 60 minutes under his belt, and then us being in a good position to take him off, that would be ideal. I'd rather just start our strongest player at centre-half. I know that Welsh and Lagerbielke have positives from midweek, but we can bring them on, and they can give them half an hour. For me, you've got to just get consistency back in the legs of Vickers in terms of minutes. Not in terms of quality, because he's always quality, but just in terms of minutes leading up to this derby. So I would have him in there. So Hart, Johnston, Vickers, Scales and Taylor. Yes, I'm going for Taylor over Mitchell Frame, who obviously has been spoke about a bit. But once again, good position in the game. Bring him on. Midfield 3, I've actually gone McGregor, O'Reilly and Bernardo now. I don't know if there was an update today on Tomoki, but he did come off obviously midweek. So I think Bernardo could start against Hearts tomorrow. So I've gone with that for my midfield 3. And front 3, I've gone Johnson, Kyogo and Palma. Once again, MAEDA could come in. If he does, then MAEDA could go on the right or left hand side and Palma on the other. But I'm going to go for that as the starting front 3. Is it just maybe too soon for MAEDA or Vickers? We'll wait and see what happens tomorrow. But that's the 11 that I'm going to predict. So finally, score predictions then. I'm going to keep it low as I have been recently. I'm going to say 2-0 Celtic. We need to win. And that's just the bare minimum tomorrow, winning the game. But I really want us to just have positivity in that. I don't want us to be walking away going, you know, breathing through the teeth or sighing or anything. Just complete positivity. 2-0 Celtic would be a fantastic result. And I'd go up the road happy with that. Right then, that does it for today's match preview. Sorry it's up a little bit later than usual for a Friday afternoon. I was just waiting for the press conference to be published and such. But if you have enjoyed, you know what to do. Make sure to hit like and subscribe. Let me know all your thoughts in the comments below. And we'll see you tomorrow for the post-match reaction, where hopefully we're not dropping more points. So I'll see you then. See you next time.